What's happening, folks? Back for another Bad Religion reaction. Back for more from their much discussed but seldom heard sophomore album, Into the Unknown. Once again, shout out to Paulie, as well as to Kim and a couple others who've taken an interest in the album. And yeah, I was going to mention, we're going to listen to Losing Generation. It's the penultimate tune on the album. But I did notice, the opening tune was It's Only Over When, ellipsis, dot dot dot. The final tune is ellipsis, You Give Up. It's only over when you give up. So it seems bookended in that way. I'm curious to hear that one when we come back next time. But it also struck me as interesting because there are multiple Bad Religion tunes, if you go forward in time, that are a bit pessimistic about the possibility of great change, given that it's hard enough to manage your own life and try to get by. Songs like Dream of Unity, songs like Parallel. So, yeah, the whole album here is a very interesting artifact in history. In any case, we're going to listen to Losing Generation. It makes me wonder what generation we're talking about. Is this, Greg and the other guys' generation? In fact, I don't know if he wrote it. It could be Mr. Brett, but essentially, is it the generation right before my time, which is, I was born in 80, they were teenagers in the very early 80s, so probably born, early 60s, I suppose. In any case, yeah, I wonder what generation we're talking about, in what sense they are losing, and also what we're going to hear. Keyboards, surely, that has been a staple throughout the album, although in some cases, a couple cases, it's a little more normal Bad Religion than I would have expected given the reputation of the album, so I guess we'll find out. This is Bad Religion, Losing Generation, the penultimate tune on their 1983 album, Into the Unknown. Oh my god!
System of life, accordingly, every day, every year, every century. But everywhere you go, it's gonna become worse and worse. Can't you tell through the smoke of the dirty city?
If the me who discovered in the mid 90s suffer no control against the grain and just, became an instant massive Bad Religion fan, and shortly thereafter discovered their earliest stuff, 8085, which, conveniently omits this album. If when I was, first obsessing over this group as a teenager, if I had heard this album, I suppose I would have been a bit confused. That song is perhaps the most like this album, based on the reputation that I knew it had, of all the tunes we've heard so far. Again, I might have been like, oh, wait, what? That's crazy. That's like, like keyboard, kind of like stadium rock or something. Like it's not what I know Bad Religion to be. So I don't know how I would have reacted, but now I love that. That's fantastic. It's a really cool tune, and ultimately, it may sound a bit like underproduced. If they were to make a tune like that now, it would have, I think, a fuller, like crisper sound. But even so, I think it's a really cool tune. Some great guitar work. Shout out to Mr. Brett, I assume. Shout out again to Greg, I assume, is the person on the keys. And there was some real, like, keyboard flares. Just, there was a lot of swag to the tune, if you will. So, yeah, sonically really interesting. Lyrically, I don't know, what I caught makes me think we're talking less like, decade-based or like cohort generations in American history. It feels like we're another Bad Religion tune. We're talking like humans as a species on a larger scale, and like, I feel like he might be saying, that humans are actually the beast. Like, who's the animal when, given the way that we behave, and so it could have a like the effect that humans have on like other species. Like all the other species are now in their losing generation because of the Anthropocene, the like human dominance of the planet. So I feel like that it's not a stab in the dark. It's a like educated guess, I would say, maybe. But I definitely heard the title phrase, but heard lots of lines about like beasts and seeming like animal references, specific animals. So that could all be allegorical or metaphorical, but yeah, if I had to put pen to paper and guess what the song is about, it seemed like it was another tune that's talking about humans more collectively, not in a national sense or like a, again, generational cohort. So yeah, I'm sure others will have opinions. I do really appreciate, once again, I want to give a shout out to Kim, not just in the punk rock reactions, but in all different reactions. Like, I've been long someone who's paid attention to lyrics, and I do my best to hear something on a first listen when I do these reactions, which over time, or like throughout my history, I listen to a tune a number of times. I start to get a sense of what it's about, and at least the way that I interpret it. But I do have to say, I really appreciate Kim and a handful of others who do like the craziest job interpreting lyrics that not only enhance my appreciation for groups that I've known for a very long time, but other people like commenting like, oh, that's a really cool interpretation, and sort of like the learning from each other and insight provided by members of the community like on this channel. It's crazy. And Kim, big shout out to you because you are a massive part of that. So from Luca and I, big ups to Paulie for sharing the music, Kim and others for commenting on lyrics, and all the heroes and champions of the channel. And yeah, I will be back soon to finish this album, and once again listen to a song I'm intrigued by, given the way it seems to have a conceptual relationship to the opening tune. So we'll be back for Ellipsis, You Give Up, soon, and let me know what you think of this. Peace.